looking for the slides. They only went up on Blackboard about 20 minutes ago because I don't have internet access at home. I only had it here. So they are there now, but they did get up much later than usual. Tonight, I should say this afternoon, we're going to finish our walk down Bardak's Eightfold Path. As you know, that's been the defining organizational theme for the course. And today, we're on the eighth and final step where we're talking about how we tell the story, how we take the work we've done in policy analysis and communicate it to our client in a way that's meaningful and helps improve the quality of the decision-making process. I wanted to start with this concept of speaking truth to power. A fellow by the name of Aaron Wildofsky, the founding dean of the Berkeley Public Policy Program back in the 60s, wrote this book called Speaking Truth to Power. And in a lot of ways, it really is the controlling metaphor for the discipline of public policy. The idea is that somehow, through our analysis, we have discerned something, perhaps approximating the truth, about a particular policy issue, at least for the here and now, given the resources we have available. And the idea is that we want to bring that truth, and I'll put truth in air quotes to emphasize that we're not talking about a universal truth, we're talking about some insight, though, that's helpful, and take that truth and bring it to people that are in positions of power and authority that may be able to actually act on our analysis. And by way of illustration, I had asked you guys to look at this piece. It was a small blog entry written about Doug Elmendorf, who is the director of the Congressional Budget Office, and the Super Committee, which was the congressional committee charged several months ago to kind of craft a solution to the debt problem and put on the table a complete and comprehensive reform of the federal budget. Unfortunately, they failed in their job. They did not come up with a joint recommendation, and so that's why we're looking at the prospect of the big sequester that I'm sure you've all heard about on January 1st. And this blog entry was about Doug Elmendorf's testimony in front of the Super Committee. And just so you know, in a lot of circles, Doug Elmendorf is regarded as a rock star of policy analysis. He's extremely intelligent, very well versed in the policy issues that he's delegated with being in charge of at the Congressional Budget Office. He is scrupulously nonpartisan, very much focused on giving Congress the information it really needs to make decisions. And in the blog entry, you saw, I think it was 5 particular elements of how you can be successful at speaking truth to power. And I think they're just important reminders that, you know, perhaps are self-evident, you know, maybe they're almost common sense, but it's very easy when you get caught up in the milieu of something like a congressional hearing to lose sight of these basic objectives. The first, of course, is that you need to be expert in the topic you're talking about. If you don't know the topic very well, the quality of your advice is going to be inherently limited. And you know, our class this semester has been about methods and how to do policy analysis. So we're not turning you into an expert in any particular field. So in a sense, we're only putting one tool in your toolkit, which is a sort of systematic way to do policy analysis. It's still important that you bring, through your education, work experience, additional skills, which is deep subject matter expertise in the field that you're actually working in. The idea that you need to state your case is really, really important, that you have figured out what the essential, most important element of your advice is, and you sort of stripped away the arguably relevant, arguably important stuff, because those additional pieces of your message often get in the way of people understanding your core, essential message. So making sure you know what it is that you're trying to get across and finding a really concise way to say it is important. In this particular environment where Dr. Elmendorf was subject to arguably hostile questioning from the members of Congress, he was able to stand his ground. He would get wacky suggestions from different congresspeople about how we could reform the federal budget, and he would politely listen and explain in very polite terms why it wasn't such a good idea, or I'd be willing to work with you on that, Senator. However, I don't really think we can get anywhere near the savings we need to get. He also was pretty good at keeping his cool. I think a couple of times members of Congress were pretty harsh on him in CBO, and yet he didn't lose his temper. And it would have been really easy for any of us to be offended by some of the things that were being said. And the blog entry, I think, is really quite interesting. It says, go soft on the people and hard on the issues. So it's like what you really are there to talk about is your analysis and what the right choices are for the particular policy situation. You're not there to sort of score points against the other people or to put down people who have being rude to you. The focus is on the analysis itself. And then he did a very good job in this particular hearing of saying, well, we need to either raise revenues, cut spending, or some combination of both. He said we need to worry about the macroeconomy in the short run and make sure we don't cause too much fiscal drag and slowdown, but we do need to worry about the debt in the long run. So he was very good at kind of painting a path forward. So I don't know, I put this sort of front and center in our discussion today because this is kind of what we're talking about. If you're going to do step 8 of Bardak's eightfold path successfully, you want to do it like Doug Elmendorf did it. I think you guys might have also listened to the NPR story that was done about him. Did anyone get a chance to hear that, and what did you guys think of it?